Welcome back to the Cub Content Studio. We are the Gambling Guys, and we're coming to you on the Pull Tab Sports Network. We are happy to be here for episode 6, David. Is this number 6?
David Casino, number 6.
Lucky number 6. I'm here with David Casino. My name is Prop Bet Pete. You could formerly known as W2G Pete, formerly known as, what was the other one we were using? That Parlay Pete.
It's sticking, though. I think Prop Bet is really stuck. Has it not?
I've gotten several questions from a bunch of our listeners, mostly my family, because that's probably the only people that listen to us right now. but they're like, which one are you? And I'm like, I am all. So mostly Prop Bet, because we'll talk about this during the podcast a little bit, but mostly because I'm a loser on Sleeper. But let's go over the what we're going to talk about today, because this is an episode that both I know you and I are pretty excited about. It is a episode all things casino, and we are super excited to be here in, I think I said this earlier, the Cub Content Studio.
Absolutely. Today we're going to be talking about, as Prop Bet Pete said, all things casino, but primarily around its entertainment value. And not to be intimidated by the casino. We got a couple of stories to share. I was just down in Puerto Rico, and we'll share a little bit of that. We're going to share a W2G win. But before we do, this episode is brought to you by Chill Boys.
Chill Boys, one of my favorites.
Has been an awesome sponsor. And if you listen to episode 5, Billy, the Ukrainian from Austria.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Was our pull tab expert. Just a great guest that we had on. He sent you a text, right?
He did.
What did he say in that text?
I may have the number wrong, but I think he said I bowled a 275 with my Chill Boys on.
Hold on. Billy bowled a 275.
I think that's what it was.
That's like striking all the way up to the 10th frame, I believe.
Assuming it's one game. I'm joking.
A series. Yeah. He bowled a 275 series. That's 3 games.
He looks like a great bowler, but he did it. So Sally did it with the Chill Boys underwear on.
He did it with Chill Boys on.
Love
Chill
it,
Boys. So it sounds like the Pro Bowlers Tour should probably get Chill Boys.
I think that's great. So as a reminder, they've got those bamboo boxers, the bamboo boxer briefs, and the performance boxers. Those are the ones that Billy used for his 275, and he did tell us that he's excited for golf season to be wearing them, as are we.
Right. Mrs. Prop Bet Pete asked me the other day, she's like, are you wearing those Chill Boys underwear? And I said, yes. And she goes, why didn't you tell me? And I said, well, I just didn't tell you. And she said, are they really as good as you say they are? And I'm like, they're better. They're better than what I said they were. They're very, very comfortable underwear.
Don't take our word for us. For
it,
us, you word to me, winning
you,
isn't you do. Go to chillboys.com, pull tab 15, get 15% off.
Say that 5 times.
Well,
fast.
I couldn't even say it the first time.
So pull tab 15 is the code. They get a 15% discount at Chill Boys. Highly recommend you buy it. Bamboo is one of the most sustainable woods or fibers in the world. I don't know if you knew this. Bamboo actually grows extremely fast. And so the bamboo boxer briefs are my favorites.
But we're not here to talk about bamboo, are we, Prop Bet Pete? We're here to talk about the casino, and we need to share something.
Well, let's start with this, because you capped it well, but I agree with you, and I wanted to chime in when you were talking, is casinos should not be as intimidating as we all think they are. I mean, even today, and you mentioned this in our pre-production meeting about sometimes you walk into a casino and you just feel overwhelmed. And I can't imagine what a new gambler feels like walking into a casino. We took our kids for one of our daughter's 21st birthdays last January to Vegas. And you could see their eyes just get big, and they had never been to Vegas, any one of the 3 children. And when they were all surprised and intimidated by Vegas. Now, Vegas obviously is the stage of all stages, but even locally. So today's episode, we talk about casinos, and we both have intimidating stories as well. Almost every time I walk into a casino, I get that goosebumpy sense of anxiety. Sal, do you feel that way when you walk into a casino?
I do, but I'm not, like I said, I'm not a big gambler. I like to gamble, but I'm not a big gambler. I'm easily drawn to the sports book and place some bets and sit back and have some cocktails while
Yeah.
the wife can sit at a machine for hours.
See, and that's the beauty of the casino, right? You can go to a casino, and people need to know that if it's a couple, if it's some friends, you can literally go to a sports book, and we'll talk about this, and hang out for the afternoon and have a few cocktails, have a few beverages, grab some food, and just have a blast betting little to none, if you want, on games, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. One of the things that I wanted to bring up is casinos are designed to keep your eyes where they want your eyes to be. So if you look at all the flooring in a casino, it's crazy. You can't stare at a casino
Very
floor.
busy.
Very busy.
Right.
You look at a ceiling and it's very boring. So they're getting your eyes up, they're getting your eyes down. And even with like a $2 win, lights are going off, bells are going off, and it's on volume. Like when you picked me up in the car and it was 2 tickets to paradise.
Right.
Everything's designed to just have this rush of just action
So-
everywhere you're going.
David, I got a Mythbuster here.
Yeah.
Is it true they put the winning machines near the door so people walking by hear all the dinging and
I got to be honest with you. It could be that I'm looking for it, but I always have hit bigger wins on end machines and closer to the door. Like aisle and end machines.
okay.
Yeah.
But MythBuster wise, no. They really can't program any machine, whether it's in Vegas or anywhere else. They can't program one machine to provide it in the same classification or category for better returns than an individual machine. It's just not possible.
They call it the random number generator, right?
That's exactly what almost every electronic game or every electronic gambling game that's regulated goes by as a random number generator.
Now, what they could
That's
do,
correct.
and we could take a look at this when we're in Vegas next month, is the higher percentage payout, the return to player percentages, right?
Right.
Because one machine might pay 92% over infinity over time, and one may pay 99%. We could do some research. I wonder if the 99%ers are in those high traffic areas to bring people in.
Well, that's one of the reasons why you and I even play video poker is because the return over time on a video poker machine is, as you mentioned last episode, sometimes it's over 100%.
Theoretical payback. Yep.
Yeah, if you find the right machine. And your odds of winning at a video poker machine are much better over a long period of time than they are in the slot machines or pull tabs or the best table. We'll talk about the best table games. We'll talk about the best electronic games, right? We'll talk about some fun games. I know, Sal, you like to play Pago, and you've got many reasons why, but a lot of it's entertainment value, correct?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So we'll talk about that, and we'll just have a really good time. We do have a great story to tell you about last week. David Casino and I together at a local casino here in the Twin City area. And you probably have seen it on Instagram. If you haven't, go to our Instagram account and look for it because it's a funny one. I will apologize in advance. I got too excited, and I think I mentioned a few episodes earlier that our video capabilities as far as professionalism are slim to none at this point.
I was going to say C-. I think it's a D+.
Yeah, I think you're probably
Passable.
right. I know that that Sal and the crew here at Pull Tab, when I sent them the video, was like, what do we do with this? How do we actually highlight this for you? And it took a fair amount of editing, so thanks to our folks for doing that. But anyway, so should we jump into that story first?
I'd love to tell it and tell it together. Because
So I'll set it up and then you take
it.
it from there. So David and I think I think we had just taped an episode and said we were going up to one of the casinos Friday night. And so we met at a McDonald's parking lot on the way up to basically 35 on the way up to Duluth. And about halfway up to Duluth is a town called Hinckley. And we all know there's a casino in Hinckley. So David and I, which you have some great stories that you told me, which was really fun for me, by the way, and David doesn't realize this, but when we walked into that casino, it was the first casino, correct me if I'm wrong, the first casino that David walked into when he turned 18 and could legally gamble, correct?
I think I turned 18 in the parking lot. No lie.
Yeah.
On the way up.
This is actually a really cool kind of sidebar story. So let's tell this first, because you were about to turn 18. Your dad had been. You mentioned on the first episode your history of gambling. Your dad had kind of been throwing you pull tabs since you were 10 or 11 years old. I'll take the under on that. And now it turns to the point where you're turning 18, which was legal gambling age in Minnesota. And what did your dad do for you when it was time, like a true gambler would? What did he do for you?
I knew we were going up to the casino with a good buddy of mine, TJ. Hopefully we'll be on here because he plays the dark side of craps. Sometime we'll have him on with us.
Yeah.
And my dad and a good friend that was probably arguably a professional gambler at the time.
Yeah.
And he got a limo for us, and we headed up to the casino. And I literally turned 18. I don't know if it was on the way up or in the parking lot, but I remember walking in. And I don't remember too much more that night, but I won $100 because I look back on that thinking, I wonder if I would have lost $100 if things would be different, if I wouldn't be sitting here. But now fast forward 30 years later or 28 years later, I was able to walk around that casino, and you and I had never been in that casino together.
We had not been in that casino
and so
together.
I was
That's
walking
correct.
around and sharing some stories. And the one thing I love, a lot of things about Prop Bet Pete, but he's just super genuine, authentic, and was listening to every story like he was there with me. So I was saying, this was the first time I hit $10,000 right over here. There was a machine right here, and the blackjack tables used to be here. This is where my sister won. You know, I just kind of walked around. We took our time, right?
Yeah. You told stories. You told me about walking in. You told me about walking on. You told me about when your dad had a little bigger bankroll than you did, and you would go out and sleep in the car and wait for him because he was either on a heater or he felt like, right. And it sounds degenerate to people, but it really was. It was fun, right? It was entertaining, and it was your choice. You're like, hey, I'm gonna go hang out in the car because I just lost $200, and he had a little more than $200 in his wallet, and decided he was going to keep going, right?
Yeah.
And there's that story you said about $10,000. We'll tell that another time, but that's a cool story about, I think you said you put like $5 or $10 into a slot machine and hit a $10,000 jackpot.
Two things that came up with that I want to bring up to our listeners. That number one, we're here for the pure entertainment value, and that's exactly what a casino or gambling should be.
Right.
There are plenty of people, and we're not hiding behind it or ignoring it, that get into addiction around gambling.
Right.
And we're not here to support that at all. We're here to support them in getting any sort of help that they want. Treat it as entertainment.
Yeah, if you have a problem, there's plenty of opportunities to get help, and we've talked about that in the past. We'll continue to talk about it.
Yeah,
because
and you said it like it's a degenerate thing. I look back on it. It was the time that I spent with my dad. I wouldn't have it any other way, right? And it was fun to tell you the story. The other part that was great about this, not the win, but which we're going to get into, you and I took our time.
Yeah.
And that's what casinos should be. We walked around, kind of looked at people. We watched the entertainment value of that, kind of decided what we were going to play. And one thing you guys will know about Prop Bet Pete is I think he plays video poker because I love it, but he really likes some slots. So we played
I do like the slots.
pinball and top dollar.
Top dollar, that's
First.
right. Yeah.
You tell that story because I had you laughing so hard because I just can't stand it.
Yeah, so quickly just back to the entertainment value. That's the one point that we're trying to get across in this episode is casinos can be fun for gambling, but they're also fun for hanging out or taking in the scene. And many times when you walk into a casino, you've got money in your pocket. You're either going to lose it or win some. And it gives you a sense of excitement, a sense of anxiety, a sense of stress, right? And so take them for what they're worth and take a breath when you walk into one and grab a cup of coffee or sit down and watch people.
I was just going to,
Right.
We had an ice cream cone.
We did.
Like at a casino, they have everything there.
Yeah.
You can go find yourself a piece of jewelry we had ice cream cones.
We did have ice cream cones after the big win.
Like
Yeah.
14-year-old kids.
Right, exactly.
That's what you guys do after a big win like that. You go, your first go-to is ice cream.
Bingo. We could treat.
I think I had, what did I have? I had some chocolate caramel thing. What'd you have? You had we had an ice cream cone.
Remember.
Sal.
I
That's
just
what we
remember it
did.
was ice cream. And
So-
it was like 30 degrees out.
So we should get to the story because it's a great one. One of my favorite, and will always be. I will remember this for a lifetime because, folks, this happens 1 in 40,000 hands, and it happened early, and it was crazy. So David and I meet at a McDonald's parking lot about 20 minutes from the casino at 6:30 on a Friday night. And we have a plan again, just like we did. We should have a plan every time because the last 2 times it's been good for us. We have a plan that we're going to go in and we're going to throw a warm up $100 each into a machine, and we're going to see how it goes. And then as we pull it in, David said, "Well, how about we just both throw $100 in and we play $2 one-eyed jacks video poker?" And I thought that's a really good idea. So, and we have this agreement that when we pool our money and one of us is playing and the other's watching, as soon as the one playing hits a 4 of a kind, we'll switch out. And so it's kind of a fun little game that we play. Everyone has their own games they play when they pool money, but ours is I'll watch. And David decided at this point, he and I decided he'd start and I'd jump in at either $100 because we each put 100 in. So we have 200 in the machine.
We had 200 in the machine.
And
I sat down.
You sat down, and we literally started there, and it's $2. So max bet is $10. You got like $5 in comp play or something.
I think like really small amount because we hadn't been to that casino.
Yeah.
For a long
So
time.
to explain, because on the Instagram video, there's a number on what we had left in money. We started with 200. We played. David put in his comp number, which remember to put in your player's card because you get comp dollars. You put in whatever that was, the cash they give you. I think it was what cash they call it, but they gave you some player money. And you were at 205, and you played the first hand, and I'll let you take it from there.
So I don't even remember what it was. Lost on the first hand.
Yep.
Lost on the second hand.
So we're down to 185 right
Got
now.
a bonus. Yep. Okay, you put the bonus in there. Yep. So third hit of the button of max bet. We were dealt, and Pete was sitting to my left, and we were dealt 4 to the natural royal in hearts. So we had the ace, the king, the queen, and the 10 of hearts. And I don't even remember what other card it was. Let's just call it the 9 of spades.
3 of spades, I think it was.
Something. Okay.
Yeah.
And I looked at Pete, and I said, "Are you going to film?" And he stands up, and he comes over here. So please, if you're not subscribed, haven't taken a look at our video, liked it, we would love it. Without you guys, we wouldn't be here and our sponsors. So please take a look.
Agreed.
And Pete does a little bit of okay, here's the situation. He said 4 to the royal. Right?
Yeah.
And I was looking at it, and I said the jack of hearts is a wild, but it's also the natural, so it'll pay $8,000. If we get the jack of clubs, I think it is. I think that's the other wild, the one-eyed jack. It's $1,500.
Right.
Or, we can get a heart for a flush, but we weren't really considered that at all. And I was kind of standing like this. One of our buddies, TJ's like, "David, it looks like you had your hand over your heart when he was doing it before I hit the button." And we were looking at it, and Pete had it on, and I hit it. Jack of hearts, $8,000.
So we walk into a casino. We put each $100 into a machine. You play 3 hands at $10 a hand, and on the third hand, we win $8,000.
Bingo.
And a royal flush, so everyone knows, and we've mentioned this plenty of times before, but is a 1 in 40,000 hand.
And to kind of put it in perspective, I mean, maybe I've played more than you, prop bet Pete, but you've never had one.
I have never had a rough flush. It's like a hole in one when you're playing golf. A lot of people have had one. Some people have not. Most people have not. And you could play a lifetime of golf and never get a hole in one. You could play a lifetime of video poker or poker in general and never get a royal flush.
Been there.
But that's why we're here to tell the stories. And you were beating yourself up about the video, but I think it was perfect because it ended seeing that versus seeing what happens after and us. We'll be for next time.
We'll be better next time.
Yeah.
But one of the things I'll mention is David is humble about this, but I truly believe him to be the royal flush whisperer, and I've called him that for 2 years now.
Pretty lucky. The time, even in 2 years.
If you were to estimate how many royal flushes realistically you've had in your gambling career, how many royal flushes
It's
would
probably
you say
close
you've
to
had?
10. The under and over is probably close to 10.
To 10.
Yeah.
And I've had 0.
Yeah.
0. And we're talking about natural royal flushes. We're not
Natural.
talking about deuces wild. We're not talking about a one-eyed jacks, because we were playing a one-eyed jacks machine, but we actually got the natural royal flush with the jack that happened to be wild.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Which is unbelievable.
We had one last time in Vegas, and when we're there next month, we're hoping to get another one. And now, going forward, we're on year on your push of the button and on your card because it's your turn
we've
for
told-
a W2G.
Yeah, we've told that story. And David looked at me. It's funny because he looked at me and his card was in the machine. And we've talked about W2Gs where they give you, obviously, there's tax ramifications to the money that you make, which rightfully there should be. And he looked at me and he said, "We're not putting my card in again tonight."
So what we did then, because that was early on, like you said, we each were in $115 or whatever it was.
Right.
And we had money in our pocket before we grabbed the ice cream going. We gave a little bit of money back, and it was all on your card. You built up some good comps that night.
In all fairness, I will say that we did keep playing. And we weren't as lucky as we were with the 8,000.
But we walked away with plenty of money in our pockets.
We did. We walked away winners.
Many more times.
Which is fun. And as you say, 80%, at some point in your casino session, 80% of the time you will be up. We were fortunate enough to be up and continue to stay up and leave the casino with money. And a pretty good chunk of what we won. But we lost a little bit.
Yeah.
So, but it was fun because we were chasing a little bit too, right? Once you win... that's the prop bet, Pete. Well, it's the house's money.
Well, and that's maybe the thing about this episode, too, is it's entertainment. You can walk in and out of those doors anytime you want.
Yep.
The longer you stay there, the odds are not in your favor, my friends. Right?
Right.
And I think
Right.
that's part of what we want to talk about is just continue to share the casino stories and have people feel more comfortable, whether you're in a casino or pull tabs or whatever it is. But, yeah, then we just walked around, we grabbed some ice cream and headed back, and we were back by early.
Yeah, I think I got home by 8:30 or 9
I
or
was gonna say
something.
9,
I mean, we spent maybe an hour and a half at most in the casino, and 15 minutes of that was ice cream cones like little kids, like Sal said, watching people walk around, which is actually fun. So you just got back from a trip. And you and I decided when you went on the trip that each of us was going to gamble separately and maybe take some video shorts, and hopefully we'll post some of those. But we were going to kind of pool our money while we were geographically in separate states. Well, actually, I don't know if you consider Puerto Rico international travel, but
it's a territory.
It's
weird. You had to go through U.S., the FDA, the Food and Drug, Agriculture Division.
Yeah. The Department of Agriculture.
Bringing any meat back.
Or
you didn't need
plants
your
or
passport.
native. Yeah, because it is a U.S. territory. You're right. Yeah. So David left on a vacation with soon to be Mrs. David Casino, and you spent a few days in Puerto Rico on vacation. And you and I decided when you left, hey, I'm going on vacation. I'm not going to spend my time in a casino like I would love to do with you, Prop Bet Pete, but I have other priorities. But you said, hey, I might find an hour or two to the resort we're staying at has a casino, right?
And so all things, even though the name I'll be, given to myself, David Casino, I was a little fish out of water in the casino in Puerto Rico.
Okay.
So you walk in and everything's in Spanish, all the announcements, a very small casino, and happened to be there one day, found a machine, played a little bit, think I lost a couple $100.
Yep.
Just decided to leave because beach going and 85-degree weather sounded a lot better. But came back the next day, it was February 29th, and it was packed in there. The reason why I want to bring this story up is because it was packed with locals. It was not resort tourists. You could just tell. And it was a little different for me because, and I tell this to the listeners, or hopefully give a little bit of information, because it was very different when I sat down. I had to figure out, to get it in English, figure out what the max bet was.
Right.
So I found a double bonus poker machine.
Which was hard to do in the small
there
casino.
were 6 of probably 100 machines. The rest were the 5-reel machines, which I'll tell you because I played a little of that and sent you that video.
Right.
Maybe we'll get that out there as a short too, because you love those machines. But I hit the little I button. So usually if you're looking at a machine, you can sit down and take a look and hit there's a little information button, and it can tell you what the min and max is and the payouts. And so I figured out it was $2 max.
$2 max machine.
I could bet 20 cents all the way up to $2, and the
it's a 10
payouts
times bet, yeah.
adjusted as I went up. Well, I went to $2,
Yeah.
and it was a very similar payout if you were playing $1 at 5. It's just, what would that be? 40% of that. So instead of if it was $100, it was going to pay you $40.
So that's the one thing I've noticed about smaller casinos. If you go to a smaller version footprint casino, whether it's in Puerto Rico or on a cruise ship or whatever it is, they don't tend to put a lot of video poker machines in. They're mostly slots because of the payouts, right?
I think so, because I couldn't find it. Matter of fact, the first day I walked out, and the guy's like, you're already leaving. I'm like, I was looking for video poker. He's like, no, it's over here. And you have to scroll through 3 screens of a game to find the video poker. And there were only 4 types of options. It was Joker poker, bonus poker, double bonus, and then I think it was
Do they have a deuces game or no?
No deuces.
Okay.
And it was just a different feeling.
Okay. And that's an episode we should do, is really when you and I mention it as generally as video poker, there are so many different varieties of video poker.
And a bunch of different payouts to it.
Yeah, and some are set up literally for the casino to take the advantage. The payout tables are not fun or not good, right? Yeah. Where others, like double bonus, pretty consistent as far as payout tables, so you can always feel like you're and double's always been your favorite.
Well, now I got to say, one-eyed jacks are probably the favorite.
One-eyed jacks have quickly become the favorite. I know I think it was your dad's favorite, right? One-eyed jacks.
It was, yeah.
Yeah. So in this casino, I'm going to go down through a list because these are the popular games that we find in casinos. Was there Baccarat in the casino you were in?
No.
Okay. Was there blackjack tables?
4 tables, but only 1 was open during the day. At night, it got busy, though.
Okay.
And there were 4 rocking.
Okay. Blackjack tables?
4 blackjack tables.
Okay.
Rocking.
Was there a craps table?
The interesting thing about craps, and Eric and I watched, and we walked over there. In Vegas, it's a really long table. It's probably 15 feet, maybe long, right? And they have 2 sides. They have the 4 through 10 over here, the 4 through 10 over there, and you bet on the pass and don't pass over there and over here, right? It's split in 2.
Right.
By the dealer in between, right?
Yeah.
It was half a table.
It was half a table, the craps table was?
Yeah, so even that, when you're walking in, I was like, that looks like what's happening over there? And we went and looked. It was very strange, their betting habits. I was watching and explaining it to Eric, and she's like, what? Like, okay, now they're looking for an 8 versus a 7 for a different episode. But they had one, I'll call it half of a craps table.
So you bring up a good point, though. It's perfectly fine and acceptable for if you don't know something in a casino, even a table game like blackjack or craps, to stand and watch. And
Part of that is the fun.
And not gamble. And watch, right?
We didn't play any craps. I was looking at so they usually have the min and the max and the odds on there, but they don't have the payouts. So like if I just threw a place bet on 4, I didn't know what the return was, so I didn't want to go in it. And it's just there are a bunch of tourists that were, I don't know. I'm kind of superstitious like that. I don't know. People are just chucking the dice.
I think it's safe to say that when you get to some of these resort casinos or these ship casinos, if you're on a cruise, the odds are stacked further against you. It just feels like it. I don't know if that's true or not, but it seems like the payouts come fewer and far in between. It also feels like they're set up so that you can come in, lose a quick couple hundred, and get out because you're on vacation and they just want to grab your money real fast.
Yeah,
that's what it feels like.
And I don't know if they're regulated. I don't know how they're regulated or if they are.
Yeah.
When we drove to do a snorkeling thing, we did see another casino right next to a Marriott.
Okay.
It's a Fairfield by Marriott, and there was a casino almost connected to. I think it might have been connected.
Okay.
So I know there are a few down there, but
okay. I have actually one good watching story from Vegas. It was a few years ago. It's before you and I started really.
Is this going to be about the casino?
Yeah, it's going to be about the casino. It's going to be about Vegas and the casino. Watching someone gamble, and so I'm walking through. I think my wife was with us, and we were walking through one day, and I stopped. And I was watching this gentleman play craps, and he was out on the main floor, okay? And in casinos, there's always a high limit room, and especially the Vegas casinos, because there's a lot of high rollers out there. And so they want to sometimes be separated. And if you have enough money, they'll even set up the table in your room that they probably comped you if you're that much of a high roller, right? I mean, there's that world out there. That's
so we've been told.
Yes. And so I was walking through the main floor casino, and it was a typical craps table that had a minimum bet of, I don't know, at that time it was probably $15 minimum. And it was probably 2 in the afternoon. And I look, and this guy's playing, and he's the only one at the table, and he's got bigger chips. Bigger
So
chips.
were they like this?
Yes.
They were the 2-inch by 3-inch, almost like business cards, or almost like the big ass brick of soap from Duchanan. Right?
Almost like the
But they're
big ass
thinner,
brick of soap from
right?
Duchanan.
I know exactly what it was. Were
Right.
they 10 or were they 25?
They were 25s.
25 grand
25 grand on the craps table.
Each chip.
each chip.
Yeah.
They're not even really chips. They're like Plinko. They're
And
very
so,
different.
Like I said about people watching, if you're someone who wants to play out on the main floor and you're betting $25,000 just on your frontline bets because you have to put odds behind it. So if you think about this, you get a 4 or 10 and they're giving you 10 times odds. Your frontline bet on the pass line is $25,000. And when you hit a 4 or a 10, you can put odds behind it to hit that 4 or 10. You'll put $250,000 behind a $25,000 bet. So if you're betting that you're going to roll a 4 or a 10 and not a 7, and you've got $275,000
Was this person
on the
doing
table. He was doing not max bet, but he was putting like $100,000 behind
So
his $25,000
4 times
bets.
back. So still
Right.
backing it up with that much money.
And the only thing I could think about, because my wife was like, why are we watching this? And I said, do you see those chips? And she was like, well, what does that mean? I said, those are $25,000 a piece. And she's like, what? I said, yes. And my only thought about it was, when he's that high of a roller, why would you go out into the main area and gamble it? You want to be seen at that point, right? Because if you're going to gamble that much, they will bend over backwards to give you your own table in a private area and let you gamble to your heart's content.
Did you stick around to see how he did?
We stuck around for about 5 minutes because I think we were headed to dinner or something. It was early afternoon or late afternoon or something. And I don't remember how it ended, but we stuck around and I watched him, and he didn't hit a thing when we were there. He crapped out 2 or 3 times and he lost $300,000 or $400,000 and just didn't even blink an eye. Kept throwing down. And at one point, if I remember right, he may have gotten another marker. We can talk about markers too. I've had situations where I've had markers a few times in my life, and they're fun, but they're dangerous. And I think he signed for some more, and they just brought out another stack of $25,000 chips.
Make it easy.
Yeah.
They make it
easy as you
real
can.
easy. Fill out a form and
Yes, Mr. Johnson, you want another $500,000? We'll bring it to you. Right?
so that's part of the entertainment value of it
What a
in
life.
casinos.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy, Sal? Like,
Yeah.
he's literally gambling a Lamborghini.
Guaranteed that guy was flown in on a jet for that afternoon and flown right back out.
Yeah.
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 Or if
Different
he won,
lifestyle.
if he won, they put him up in the biggest suite they could and said, "Come back tomorrow morning and gamble some more, buddy."
So, David, I'm curious, or Pete, was he older, younger?
I estimated him to be kind of 60-ish
Okay.
in age, and he wasn't real flashy, if I remember right. He didn't have the bling on. But the only thing I could think about was he was literally on a main floor on the runway. Was he wants to be seen? And by the time we were leaving, there was 15 people watching because
Yeah.
Word travels fast in a casino. There's a high roller over there, and he's rolling hard.
So I've told you guys a story that I have had some experiences going to Vegas with the high roller, and he likes to play on the main floor too.
Okay.
Do you know
He just-
why?
Yeah. Well, I think I asked him, and I think his response was, "This is where I started."
Ah,
Okay. And
Yeah.
this guy you've talked about in the past, he's a humble dude, really nice
Very
guy,
humble,
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you wouldn't even know it.
And maybe this guy was the same, but I couldn't, it didn't add up to me when he was putting that kind of bets, because I would imagine that's a risk too. Right. But you're never going to leave with those chips. You're just going to hand them back to the,
oh yeah. then
and
it's
they're
a
just going to sign you out.
like thing that goes right back in your bank account or out of, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Actually,
I would assume.
I was like, in my mind, I was picturing him walking around with a stack of $25,000 chips, but you would never do that in a casino.
No.
They would let you check them in and out, just like a library book, right?
Yeah.
Only it's not for fun. Yeah. So back to Puerto Rico. There was one video poker machine. There was one half craps table, right? Was there roulette? Did
There
you see
was
roulette?
a roulette table,
There was
which
a
is packed again at night. Wasn't open during
okay.
the day.
Okay.
We'd walk by, but it was packed.
Full
at night.
table.
I think it was a full table. Yeah. Yep, it was.
Okay. Did you see any 3-card poker, Pai Gow poker, any of those kind of different poker games?
No, but let's do a tease out on that Pai Gow, because what did we just tell Sal? He's laughing.
Well,
I am.
Neither David or I has any experience with Pai Gow poker, and it's one of Sal's favorite games. So we've decided that Sal is going to teach us all, us and the listeners,
Well, I think we need to bring Billy back for that.
little Pai Gow.
He's good at. Well, when are we going to Vegas? I was just going to check. So we have probably 2-3 episodes before we head to Vegas.
Masters weekend
Masters weekend.
is when we're going. So that Wednesday of Masters
We're
week.
trying to do one episode a week. Again, thank you to all our listeners. We're going to push out at least one of these podcasts a week, and 36 days till check-in.
How fun is that going to be? I'm excited.
So, Sal, you good for that? In a week or two, we'd love you to do a little deep dive on Pai Gow, and we can come back and tell you how we did.
Sure.
yeah, we're
Hey, that didn't sound very...
No, it is. I mean, it is. Like I said, Billy's the one that turned me on to the Pai Gow, and we can get into it during the episode, but yeah, I can try.
So, Sal, you teach us the game, and then we'll go off and gamble, and then we'll come back and report.
So one thing
That's
about-
basically what you're saying.
You know, one thing about what you're just talking about the entertainment value. I know a lot of people that go to Vegas and they'll sit at a roulette table, and probably Pai Gow, I don't know, and they'll sit there to have their cocktails, right? And they'll have their drinks, and they'll have their $100 or $20.
Social
and they
atmosphere.
It's a social atmosphere.
Yeah.
So why don't we
Yeah.
take a quick break? Because there's a bottle right behind me. You have probably a better angle right there, Prop Bet Pete. What's right up there?
I do. One of our newer sponsors, and we're really happy to have them on board, Stoli Vodka. So I don't know if you know this, David, but if you think about Stoli in the past, and I know this now because I've read up on them a little bit. If you were just, thinking about vodka in general and where it comes from,
Russia.
exactly. I would think the same thing. Stoli would be a vodka that was made in Russia, right?
Say the whole name, David, in your accent.
I got to look at the bottle.
Yeah, look at it a little bit.
Stolchivilanya. I think I got it some Swedish in there too. Sorry about
That definitely sounds Russian. I mean,
Privyet.
kind of
Do
like
svidaniya.
Billy's name
Stolchian.
sounded Russian, but he's a Ukrainian from Austria, right? So, Alechko. So, they hail from Latvia, Riga, Latvia. Stoli does. And if you're a purveyor of vodka and you enjoy vodka, Stoli is one of the brands that you will definitely recognize. And I have loved Stoli vodka for many years. They've come out with multiple flavors, and you and I used to, a few years back, used to have a few Bloody Marys, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, it was either Stoli or another brand that I won't mention. So
Might as well mention Stoli, because thanks for being a sponsor
Yeah.
of Pull Tab Sports Network.
that's right. That's right. So they give you a twist on cocktails. They have, like I said, different flavored vodkas, and we're glad to have them as a sponsor and thankful that they're on board with us. So
I just thought of that as we were talking about Pai Gow, and lots of people that I know just go there for the free drinks. And maybe a quick thing, if you notice at a casino, so let's say you sit down at a video poker or a machine that's at a bar. There's lights on the back of these. Did you know this? I'll show you the next time we're there.
Okay.
There's a red and a green, or a red and a green light. So when you put the money in, it goes to green, so you can get a free drink. And then it depends on how much and often you're playing if you can get another free drink. So you can't just sit there and put in 20. You'll get one free drink, but you can't just sit there and ask for 8 more.
So the
You have to
bartender,
play.
this is a light that the bartender sees.
We will take a picture
Okay.
and or a video.
Okay.
Yeah, so the light that the bartender sees,
Ah, interesting.
which is different if you're playing blackjack, craps, Pai Gow, something like that. They're going to come around only once every hour anyways, and if you're still there, they'll offer you a free drink.
Well, Mrs. Prop Bet Pete never played video poker, has been intimidated by it. And out in Vegas at the Bellagio, they have a few sit bars that are right on the runway, so
Yeah.
you can sit and play video poker, and they're quarter machines, so you can play $1.25 or a quarter. And so she and I will sit at the bar together, and I don't particularly believe that the bar machines are that great, but I play them because she likes to have a glass of wine. And we'll sit, and she'll put $100 in one poker machine, and I'll put $100 in the other. I'll play dollar, double bonus poker, max bet, $5 a hand. She'll play a quarter or a dollar and a half and a quarter, and she's really starting to enjoy playing deuces and double bonus. So, and she asked me about what should I keep on this hand, what should I keep on that hand, and she's starting to enjoy it more. So, and they always give her free drinks because she keeps playing.
Did she start to enjoy it more because you taught her? Because it got over how did she get over the intimidated factor of it?
Well, I think it was me who suggested, hey, they have these machines at the bar. Why don't we go grab a glass of wine and you can sip on your wine and play poker and we can hang out together? Because a lot of times when we're in the casino, she likes to go play slots and she's got her favorite slot machines. We did this last week at down at Mystic. And she went one way, I went the other. And then we end up trying to find each other. And at this particular trip, I said, well, why don't we go sit at the bar? And I said, there's a quarter machine over there. And that appealed to her as well, because then she wouldn't be betting a lot per hand. And she's like, oh, so I can just sit and have a drink.
Yeah.
And it's a social thing for her, too. She talks to the people next to her. She talks to the bartender. I'm heads down trying to hit that 1 in 40,000 royal.
So Pete,
Yeah.
do you think your wife gets served more than you do sitting at the bar?
Yes.
Yeah, my wife
question.
does, for sure.
No question.
I get her to order my drinks.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
No
absolutely.
question. Especially when it relates to casinos, and I don't know why, but it seems like they certainly the women get their attention a lot faster at times than us ugly dudes do. So, so back to Puerto Rico, because I'm jumping around. So we've got no baccarat. We've got a little bit of blackjack. We've got a half of a craps table. We've got one video poker machine, no pai gow. We have a roulette table that got busy. Slot machines galore.
Yeah, 100 to 120. I think it even says it on their website. But there were all those 5 reel machines.
Okay.
So none of them had the 3, like the spots that could come up, 7, 7, 7. It was 5 of them. And so you've started to broaden my horizon on these, I would say.
You're still not sold on them, which I don't.
So
I
on
don't
February
blame you.
29th, it was leap year or leap day.
Leap day, once every 4 years.
So I walked in, I had a little bit of time, call it 1 or 2 in the afternoon down in this resort in Puerto Rico. And it was packed with locals. Okay. And I went up to this one machine, I put in 100 and it didn't take it. So I grabbed a different, put in 100, didn't take it, put in a 20. And I was like, what in the world's happening?
Didn't take the 20 either.
And the lady next to me, I'm assuming she was a local that didn't speak any English, did this thing to me. She waved her finger at me. And right away I was like, what do you mean I shouldn't be playing, or don't you dare? Because that's kind of how I interpret this finger.
Yeah, the wagging
But then I
finger.
thought it was probably her just saying it doesn't work, right? There's a language barrier, right? And so me being David Casino, I can beat the casino, especially if it doesn't take money. Like,
You're going to think your way through this.
Yeah, so I just quickly stand up and I walk over to another machine, put in 100, hit cash out. Now I got a coupon that says $100 and I put it in, and it worked. And I sat down and I proceeded to lose that in about 20 minutes.
Did you catch her eye when you put your $100 ticket in? Did she give you?
I may have kind of said, like,
I won.
I know what I'm doing. Which here's the kind of an interesting thing about this. So there was, in this roll, there were 6 machines, and there were 5 locals sitting next to me in the other machines.
Okay.
And they were doing this drawing. I just have to assume it's a drawing. I know very little Spanish. Everything was in Spanish, but they were pulling names out of the hat. 4 of the 5 people next to me all won. And I'm pretty sure they knew the host really, really well, because he hugged each one of them after he said their name and gave them something. So I just wasn't feeling that spot. Now, the casino is probably 5 times as big as the studio, and the studio isn't huge. It's pretty small. So I just said, you know what, because I want you to tell your story of your $200 each time. But I took that $100 and I went over to this 5 reel machine. And I hit like free spin and I got it to 180. So I took it out and I put it in this other machine, this Bull Blitz machine.
Bull Blitz.
That's what it does.
Yes.
And I was playing like this roses one. It was, can't remember what part of it, but you would get 3 roses and it gives you free spins.
Okay.
And I had it up to about $400.
So you originally put in 200.
Well, I put in 100 in machine lost, put in 100 in this 5 machine, got it up to 180. So I cashed out, took that 180.
So you're 20 down at that point.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
200 in, I guess you could say. I think, good call. Got the 3 roses. I didn't even know what the hell was going on.
Yeah.
And I looked down and I was like, oh, I won $400.
Yeah.
So then I was playing the penny 250 times. So $2.50? No, 25 times.
No,
right?
$2.50.
Yeah, it was $250, right?
So $2.50.
$2.50 a time. So now I got like 4 something in there.
Okay.
So I hit the $5 one, the 500 times. So it's $5 each time.
$5
we
a
push
spin.
it.
Yeah, I
$5.
noticed that on the video you sent
So
me.
I pushed it and pushed it again. Maybe like, I don't know, a handful of times, 5, 6 times I pushed it. And I got the Bull Blitz. And this thing is loud. and
you're looking for a volume button and you can't find it.
I can't find it. Now I got like 3 people watching me. I like Pete, I didn't know.
You're right.
And then it's like Bull Blitz and Bull Blitz. I'm not kidding you. It was
Bull
back and forth.
Blitz.
We have a video. We'll hopefully post it on our Instagram or YouTube here. And I looked down. I was like, I just won $600. It was like $1,027. So I hit it like 4 more times and cashed out.
Good for you.
$1,000.
Good for you. And okay, so David alluded to this earlier. He and I, when we were up in Hinckley, decided that we were gonna, once we had won, we were gonna go over to a different area. And he said, "Let's play those slot machines that you always want to play. Let's throw $100 a piece into a slot machine." So I go and I throw money into what was Top
Pinball.
Dollar? No, I think
Top dollar or pinball?
I was Top Dollar. You were pinball, I think. So so David says, "I'm going to watch you play slots." So I said, "Okay, I'm only playing $100." So I put my card in. I put the $100 into Top Dollar, and I think I'm betting $10 a spin, $5.
It was
spin?
10. It was 10.
$10 a spin, and I quickly blow through $100. And I'll hit the machine and wait for it to show up and wait for the reels to show, and then it tells me, you won $6, you won $2, you won $7, whatever. And so it takes me probably, I don't know, let's call it 15 spins to get through that $100 and lose. And then David's like, "Hey, pinball, I want to play pinball." And he looks at me and kind of gives me the, "How do you play this?" I'm like, "Well, you put your money in and you hit the button." And he's like, "Oh, okay, I'll do that." And so David knows enough about slot machines that when you push the button on a slot machine, if you push it again, it's called a fast spin. It literally stops the reels. And so David does not like slot machines so much that Sal, he put $100 in and he fast spin through the 100. I think you were probably through it in 42 seconds.
Pete was almost on the ground laughing. It was like a disgusted laugh. But here's what the thing was. It's all about timing, because if we wouldn't have gone through it quick, we wouldn't have hit that natural for $8,000.
Yeah. What was that before we hit the natural?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. That was the warm up. Okay. And so this is funny, Sal, because I was like, okay, this is David. And I did upload a short that was, I literally pulled out my phone as he was putting his money into this machine.
Did.
And I like, here's David Casino. And of course, my terrible videoing, I'm sure it's muffled, but I was like, here's David Casino. I got him to play slots, right? And before I could restart the video, he had fast spin out of the $100. Like it was like you wanted to just be done. Like you were like, "Whoa, what's the fun in this?" And I'm like, "Well, if you let the reels go a little bit, there's actually some excitement to it." But he
was stopping the reels.
I was stopping the reels.
Yeah.
He was, yeah. So the fast spin, you hit the reel, Sal, and the reels go. And whether it's electronically or they're the actual mechanical reels, if you hit the button again, it will stop it automatically.
Yeah.
Like right there, wherever it is in that particular spin. And, it is a random number generator, so it actually doesn't impact your odds one way or another, whether you fast spin or not. But it's annoying as shit when you're the guy when you're watching.
But it was fun for me, and this is all about this episode. Find something that's fun to you.
Right.
I got to tell a quick story. I know we talk about my dad a lot, but I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for my dad who brought me up in gambling. We were at a casino, probably in my early 20s, over in Wisconsin, that had craps. And my dad hated craps. Never wanted to play.
Never wanted to play craps.
No, when we were upstairs, I was with a buddy up in the room getting a cocktail, and I said, "We're going to go play craps." And he was grumpy as hell. Okay. Right? He was like, "Fine, we're going to go play craps." And it came over to him. So he grabs the die, and he puts them in, and he shuffles them in his hand, and he blows on them. Well, you can't do that. Right. So now they got to get 6 new dice out and check the die and make sure. So now he's being like, he puts 2 in his hand. He goes, "Is this okay?" And I'm not kidding you. He overhand throws them. One of them hits the back of the other craps table. The other one is still rolling down the pit. And he puts it all, I think he put 100 on the pass line and backed it up like 100, rolled like a 7. He goes, "This is why I don't play craps," and walked out. It just reminded me of that fun story. It's about the entertainment, right? It's like find a machine, find something you love. Like I know people that go there, like my kids go there with their friends, and they like to walk around and just people watch.
You know how many people are telling that same story that were around the table? You should have saw this guy.
Crabby old bastard.
The dice is still rolling. Is it a die or a dice? I don't know. It's still, he chucked that thing overhand. They were mad.
So that reminds me, I was on a cruise ship one time, and I was one of those cruise ships. I took out a marker on the way in the door, and they had a craps table. And this was before Mrs. Prop Bet Pete was not into gambling, so she had gone to bed, and it's like 9:00 at night, and I'm going to the casino, and I'm like rubbing my hands together, like I'm gonna play craps, right? So I take out like $500 on my marker, and I think it was like a $20 machine or something. So there's a bunch of dudes from the East Coast, and you know East Coast guys, they're in your face, right? And it's me and them, and we're at a craps table. And the dice come around to me, and I've got this methodical thing I do, which is superstitious, because we're all superstitious, with the dice. And it takes probably 3 or 4 seconds to get me to roll.
But that's called a controlled player.
Okay. All right.
Actually, like a lot of people like that, but I'm guessing these folks from the East Coast did not.
They were a tad bit impatient.
Got it. Okay.
So I get to about my 5th roll, and I start hearing the grumblings, right? And as you know, gambling's about attitude a little bit too. And it's about entertainment. Well, at that point, I'm not having fun because I'm angry because these guys are razzing me about how long it's taking. And I hear one dude alongside me in a Boston or New York accent, and I'm not going to do one because I'll be embarrassed myself. But it was basically the point of, let's go. Like, what the hell's taking you so long, right? What the hell is this, right? So I started throwing the dice against the back wall as hard as I possibly could. And then I looked at the guy and I go, "You like that? You want another one?" And he looked at me and he goes, "It's not my money, dude. It's yours."
He wasn't even playing?
He wasn't even playing.
Oh.
His buddies were playing. And I'm like,
that's
oh,
great.
God. And I ended up losing the 500 because I was just angry Pete. And I ended up losing the money, and I'm walking away, and I'm pissing and moaning about these guys to myself, and all of a sudden I think to myself, I kind of screwed myself there.
So have fun. Only bring what you should be able to play, right? It's all entertainment. Yeah. So as you know, I just got back from Puerto Rico and had just some wonderful food. But you know what I'm going to pick up on the way home tonight?
What's that?
A little fried chicken from Cub Foods. Tell me how good that roasted and fried chicken is.
Yeah, I tell you what, I'm a big fan of Cub. Always have been, especially living in Stillwater for a long time, where Cub was founded, and I've always followed them and shopped there. And Sal and I were talking about this earlier. We both are kind of the shoppers in our family, and we now live downtown Minneapolis, and I will search out a Cub. Because we've got several grocery stores around us, but Cub's where I like to shop. And I
you
know
did it
you
before
too.
they're a sponsor, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're aboard here on the Pull Tab Sports Wagon. We love Cub here.
We do. There's produce is phenomenal. It's some of the best produce I've seen, and I think it's probably because they've got a really good turnover rate. Their produce is always fresh. Their meat department's fantastic.
They got the wine and spirits area, right? They got different beers, pale ales. They got THC drinks, legal now in Minnesota.
They do.
You can pick up some THC drinks. They got everything you need.
Visit
and they're one of us, and we love them.
And there's plenty of them around the Twin Cities. I don't know how many, but it's enough that you can get to one pretty closely by your house. Feel free to shop at Club because they support us as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit more about the casinos and what are your best odds in a casino.
But can you got to tell your quick story because you and Mrs. Prop Bet Pete went to the casino to put in some money. So, because you got a quick.
So you and I decided we were going to do a couple sessions each of a couple $100. And this is a funny story because I'm sitting on my phone and I'm working one day. I think it was Wednesday, and you're on vacation, and I'm grumbling because you get to gamble and I don't because I have to work. And bing, I get an email from Venmo that says I got some money. And I'm like,
from David Casino.
David Casino sent me, because we had agreed to pool, I get a $200 Venmo from you because you had ended up in the session up $400 and you split it with me. And I had not yet been that evening I was going to go to the casino. So I go to the casino that evening and I'm already 200 up, but I have to put 200 in. And so I put 200 in, and of course I lose it that evening and I walk away because I played another 100 or two, but I ended up getting back to 200 down of our money. And so I'm like, okay, well, I guess I'm 200 in now as well. So the 2 days later, Mrs. Prop Bet Pete we're sitting around. I knew that evening, it's a Thursday evening, last Thursday evening, I needed to go to the casino because you were going to spend your 200, and I made that commitment. So I looked at Mrs. Prop Bet and I said, "You want to join me and come down to the casino for a session because I kind of owe David a session. I gotta go." She said, "Yeah, that'd be fun." We didn't have anything going Thursday night, so we left about dinner time. We got into rush hour traffic, kind of fought our way down south to Mystic, and went down and gambled a little bit. And she played Dragon, the
5 reel,
yeah
3 bonus
yeah.
thing.
It can expand to 10 reel,
Okay.
Or 10 high.
Yep.
I don't know how many 5 reel. Yeah, you're right, 5. And I went and played video poker, and I won some money.
You hit low 4 of a kind with
I
no
hit
kicker.
4
$400
sixes with
okay.
I had 4 sixes and I hit 4 fours with no kicker.
So 250 and then 400.
250 and then 400.
You walked away with
600.
So you, shortly after that, 2 days later, Venmoed me back the same money.
That's right.
Good thing there's no transaction fee.
Exactly. So I went into Venmo and sent you your $200. So I was up 400. Half of that's yours for 200, and off we go. So, yeah, good experience. We had a fun time. We actually did sit at Mystic at the bar. Kim had a glass of wine.
The one in the middle or the one over by the golf course?
The one in the middle.
Yep.
And played video poker, just like we talked about earlier.
Get a
And
free drink?
That was fun. I don't think in Minnesota they're not allowed to give you free drinks.
Oh, you can have alcohol there, right?
You can. You just have to pay for it.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So there's
Maybe the Venutas were cut off.
no. There's a law in these, or maybe it's not a law. Maybe it's just policy. But they don't give you drinks in the local casinos.
Huh.
You actually have to pay for them because I had to pull out my credit card and start a tab and pay for the drinks. So
But you had a good time.
had a great time. Stopped for a little food on the way home and enjoyed it. And we both enjoy sitting around watching people walk around, and you hear the ding of the casino. There's excitement there. You get to watch somebody hit a big one, or and everybody's definition of a big one is different,
For sure.
right? I mean, some people they win $25 and they're ecstatic. Other people like you and I, we need to hit that $400 or $8,000 royal, and then we're really excited. So, yeah.
I got a little bit of an ad hoc for Sal and you, Prop Bet Pete. So when we were down in Puerto Rico, they have this, I'm sure like a lot of resorts, there's a couple people that walk around and do some entertainment, like throw a Frisbee in here, and the person, in the pool that gets closest probably gets a free drink. Okay. So they're walking around with a book, like a hardcover book. And I walked by, and the lady was saying, "How many pages in this book?" as I walked by. Okay. So being David Casino, I like to win, and I like to increase my odds. So I quickly Googled that book to find out how many pages were in that book, and then I ran back and I sat down on my lounge chair so they could walk around. My question to each one of you, do you think David Casino and Erica said the exact page numbers to win, or did we just get close? You got it?
I know the answer.
Okay. All right. We haven't talked about this, have we?
No.
Okay.
I think you got close enough to not look like you cheated.
Sal, what do you think?
I think you gave him the exact number because you wanted to win. You were not going to give any leeway to anybody else.
So we thought about it, and one of us went 2 away and one of us went 1 away. 3 people did the exact same thing and won. And the lady gets on the microphone and she said, "We've never had this happen before." 3 people.
It's called the internet.
Exactly. I just thought to myself, well, why weren't we the other ones? We would have got a free drink out of this thing.
Yeah.
I don't know why I just thought of that, but I always gamble, I guess, even sitting at the pool.
But you don't ever gamble enough to get close. You gamble to win. I would have guessed you were going to be like, yeah, I'm going to give him the exact
But I learned
number
my
'cause I'm
lesson,
gonna win.
Sal. From now on, I'm just going straight at it because 3 other people did.
Right. Hey, you were going to talk about some odds because you had done some research on the casino, and this kind of transitions into our next conversation about where are there good odds in a casino, or where do you're never going to tip the odds in your own favor at a casino, but you can improve them. And I think you had said you had looked up some odds on the slots that you were playing, and I think we've quoted them in the past. Did you happen to do that? Was there some stuff that you wanted to mention there?
It's as this episode, I think it was a great one that you came up with, Pete, and that is everything all entertaining and not being intimidating. And I got pushed into doing those slot machines that I don't really like because that's all they really had down there.
Yeah.
And so I went into the iButton and then I did a little research on it, and they were actually better than I thought. So those 5 real video slot pay line configurations. You can play anywhere from a penny all the way up to $2, but then you can't play $2 times 500. I mean, that would be $1,000 a spin.
Right.
So that was something I didn't know. I'm sure you can in Vegas, but
Yes,
you
you can.
can't in local casinos here, and certainly not on a resort.
Right.
But I looked at this Bull Blitz, which is you guys can look at it. It's by Konami Gaming, and it has a 94.85% RTP, so return to player percentage. So we talk about random number generator being just the random card or reel that's next going to come up. It was 94.85. So if you think about it, for every $100 you put in, the average payback is going to be $94.85.
So and that's over time.
That's over time.
Over a long period of time.
Yep.
Right.
And so, like, they say that any kind of brick and mortar casino, there can be about 94, 95%, but some can be as high as 97, 98. And as we've talked, 98 to 99% on video poker.
On video poker.
So video poker's got the better odds for you than slots, but it depends on what you want. Because sometimes, like you just said, it can be intimidating what hand to keep. I mean, I think we talked about it in episode 4 when you threw the full house.
I don't remember that.
But you did keep the 3 of the kind, at least, of the full house.
Right.
So
I kept the 3 of a kind. I was going for the 4 of a kind.
So it wasn't too bad, but you got to play it right as well. So if you're looking to sit down, Sal has talked about Pai Gow. You can play it for a long time at Pai Gow, roulette for a long time. You can even play craps. The people that I were saying that was watching down the resort, all they had is $10 on the pass line. So you think about it. You roll, you hit a number, the button's on 8. All you're gonna do, that $10 is either a 7 or an 8 if you win or lose.
Right.
That's it. So you could sit there for a long time, and that was their entertainment. So take a look don't be intimidated by it. You can send us a note at thegambling.guys@pulltabsports.com. Pete's going to give us the social media, other handles, but we'd love to bring up any other question or suggestion that you have if you're going to Vegas or you're going into a local bar or casino, because I'm sure you're not alone. We want to have it be an entertaining factor.
Yeah, agreed. And I think when we talk about casinos, you can talk about table games, craps, roulette, blackjack, right? Those are all close to 50-50 odds. Well, not all of them, but blackjack is about the best odds you can get in a casino, table game wise. Mm-hmm. But if you're intimidated by sitting across the table from someone, there's always slot machines. They don't pay as well, but they still pay, right? And they have a defined amount that they pay out when you put money into the machine. And there are certain things you can do and multiples you can use and max bets that you can take advantage of. And there's a few sites out there where you can look at probability, right? There's one in particular called the Wizard of Odds, thewizardofodds.com. He's very good at explaining odds in the casino.
All games?
All games.
Nice.
Including the ones I've mentioned, Baccarat, all those things, right? He there's tutorials for every single game. So if you want to play table games or you want to play slot machines, he can get very technical at times because he's a mathematician by trade. But he does really kind of explain the odds process of what casinos go through and the random number generation and all that fun stuff. But agreed, it's fun to just go there, and if you've got $10, you there's a play for you there, right? There's definitely a play for you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And if you're going to Vegas, there's so many gaming apps out there for your iPad or iPhone that you just want to just play and have fun to familiarize yourself with it. That's fun too.
laughing because as Pete was pulling up his laptop here earlier, I looked at his phone and it looked as though you were playing one of those online games, but you're watching a YouTube channel. But it's a really good call out. You know, a lot of those casinos have those connections into online apps that you can play for fun too. So
Agreed.
You want to do the shout out of our last sponsor and then where they can find us, our handles on social media?
Duke Cannon?
Love it.
Duke Cannon. No, we've talked a lot about Duke Cannon, but I actually did some research. This company was founded in a military theme. And we've talked about their support of the military, both active and retired military, and what they've done. But I didn't know this, and discussed this with a few folks. That big ass brick of soap, the origin of the big ass brick of soap came from the military used to issue soldiers that particular footprint of big ass brick of soap in the Korean War.
Wow, really?
Yes. Yeah. So Duke Cannon not only supports the military, but they spend time with the military understanding what men want in particular, masculine men like us, David Casino.
I'm glad you had to lower your voice to get to the masculine men part.
But I'm just so thankful for them as a sponsor, and I think we are at Pull Tab Sports in general, because they really do care about we as men, and are designing and actually promoting products that are wonderful for us, right? So big shout out to Duke Cannon.
Absolutely. Thanks for doing the research on it. Even more reason. Take a look at their website. Got some of the products right here. Thank you for being a sponsor.
You can find Duke Cannon at, I believe, a hardware store. You can find them at Target, if I'm not mistaken.
Shields,
yes, and online. Some of the great military charities that they support: the Green Beret Foundation, Helmets and Hard Hats, the Gary Sinise Foundation. So all military-based, and it is not just men; it's men and women serving. So they support lots of programs in that respect.
Love it.
Yeah.
I was just going to look at our Instagram account, _gambling guys on Instagram. We've got a few reels out there, some shorts, had about 1,800, 1,600, 1,500 views. Thank you so much. Just Pete and I, Prop Bet Pete and I are here with, wouldn't be able to do it without Sal. Sal, big shout out. Thank you.
Yeah.
Love to have you continue to subscribe, like, watch, listen, and send in some feedback as we look at next episodes.
We would love some subscriptions. We would love a shout out on social media, a forward of our video or a repost. I don't know what we want to call. I don't even know how you say that in Instagram.
Tag us on your Instagrams when you win big.
Oh, I love that idea. That's a great idea.
Yeah, we'd love to highlight other people's wins because it seems like early this year we might be out of wins already. We got an 8,000.
Hey, you just talked about it's all about frame of mind and attitude. I was going to ask you if you wanted to go to the casino this afternoon. I think that's a no.
I don't think you want to take me to the casino this afternoon because I just mentioned loser, right? So, yeah.
You got a pretty sweet shirt on, though.
Well, I know. Isn't that
Maybe you
sweet?
could find a Sunday Fun Day meat raffle at a local bar.
Yeah, you get a little pull tab shirt on like Billy had the other week. So
Thanks to you.
Yeah. So we should probably wrap this up because we've been rambling pretty good. Folks, golf season's around the corner. David and I are going to be in Vegas over the Masters. I think maybe one of our next episodes, if not the next episode, should maybe center around different golf ideas for gambling within individual golf games and who to bet on in upcoming big tournaments.
Love
what
it.
Do you think?
Right? Our clubs are regripped and they're ready to go. And then we can do Pai Gow after that and get ready for our Vegas trip and report back. And stay tuned because we're probably going to gamble in the meantime. So take a look at some of the YouTube and Insta shorts that we've got coming your way.
Right, and I think we should find a guest because we got to continue the streak of Prop Bet Pete winning in the 5 questions category.
For the record, if people, I won 200 and lost 100. I'm still up 100.
That's debatable.
And if you caught the last episode, because Sal kept the cameras rolling, you handed me the $200. I got it.
Yes, as always, thank you to our sponsors. Thank you to Pull Tab Sports. thank you most importantly to Sal, who puts up with us and literally kind of drives the ship a little bit or steers the ship for us. And we'll hope to see you next time when we'll talk about golf betting, not only when you're playing, but also for some larger upcoming tournaments.
Thanks for listening and watching. Catch you next time.